Hi there. Today we're going to show how to use Google Slides and Google Classroom to be able to enhance some of our presentations. We know that Google Slides is basically a PowerPoint tool for Google, and it translates easily with Chromebooks and so forth. But one thing that I was able to figure out was I like to use a lot of video clips and short video clips in my classroom and in my lectures. And one thing that I found very frustrating even though I would have it in, say, a playlist on YouTube, was jumping back and forth from the lecture itself to the Google slide that I wanted to use as the visual aid, and there was some lost time in there, so what I was able to do was I learned how to use Google Slides as a way of inserting all these little 2-minute clips. So the lesson that I did this with was a lesson about early Christianity that we have in our standards when we talk about comparative religions. And we were talking about the interactions between the early Christians, or the very first Christians, and the Jews and the Romans, and how all these people interacted with each other. And the show that I wanted to use was AD, the Bible Continues, but I didn't want to just show an entire episode. So I wanted to highlight how each group was portrayed, and it's a great show. So I wanted to highlight some of the characters that were in the show. So I was able to go on YouTube, very simply go onto YouTube, search AD, the Bible Continues, and the character's name. And this gentleman's name's Caiaphas, that you see on the slide that I used to represent the high Jewish priests. And then as we go through, this is Pilate, who represents Rome and Roman citizens. And this would be Peter, who would be one of the first apostles to go out and preach the word of Jesus Christ. And then we couldn't go very far without talking about Paul or Saul. So I was able to find these 2-minute, 3-minute clips that just kind of gave the mood. And what was great about it was I was able to get the kids to ask questions as we would show these clips. So right when I got done, I was able to have those questions ready to roll. So I'm just going to show you how this was done. Obviously, you want to go back to your drive, and you will open up a new presentation. And then, depending on how you want to create it, I have another video where I talked about using a student-generated notes. This one is going to be constructed by me. But once again, there's so many different things that you can do with this type of setup, where the kids can be interactive, or you can do the work, or whatever. So that's what I really like about this. So obviously, we would make a slide, okay? And then we would go up to Insert. And then we would go ahead, and this is what I really like about Google Slides, is you could, and any of those are Google tools, is you can go in and search the Bible Continues. And I'd go a little bit more. I could do the character analysis. Analyze. That's a Pilot. And as it goes through, now if I ever have an issue where I can't find it, I will actually go onto YouTube and actually find the URL, and I can put that in. Peter, I just want to show you one. Of course, you can't find it. And this is another reason why it is good to have these things saved somewhere, so you can always go. You always want to make sure your links are active. And what do you know? You can't find it. So I'm just going to take the first one that we have here. And this is how easy it is. Click it, select, and it will automatically embed the player into your slide, and all you have to do is hit play. Whether it is in presentation format where you present, or you could even leave it like this and it's easier to navigate, where it will play it for you. And you can go to the big screen. And so if you compile, you got a lesson where you want to show 5, 6 little 2-minute, 3-minute little segments. This is probably the best way that I have found to use Google Slides. And what I have done with other Google Slides is I will add maybe even a question slide. Here would be an example. I could put one big question right smack dab in the middle of the video. Say, what was the role of the apostles in the early church? And I could put a couple of these up. So right after the clip, boom, the question is right there. It gets the kids thinking. One of the clips that I have in the previous slideshow that I showed you was right here. It actually talked about the mood of Jerusalem during the death of Christ and what was the Romans feeling like. So I could place those questions right in and have this ready to go. And then to add to it, when you get all this completed, we could just go ahead and load it right up to Google Classroom. We'd make we'd go in, we'd create it. I would typically use something of that as material, so the kids would be able to go in and they could watch some of the videos. So if they have any questions, they can always come back. And then with any slides or any material that you link up, the kids have access to whatever you want them to have access to. So when everything's all said and done, you now have a visual video notebook that the kids have access to and hopefully can learn a little bit differently than just listening. They now have the visuals to go with their learning.